So, this is a bit of a surprise, but I just got this game. It's called What Remains of Edith Finch. And I've heard a lot of good things about it. Like, the reviews that came out today were very good. I think it's like 89 on Metacritic or something. But, yeah, I was going to wait to buy this game, just because I'm getting Outlast 2 tomorrow. But I found out there's a pre-order discount, so you save $4 off of it. But it ends tomorrow morning. It's only a pre-order discount. So, plus I also found a couple of a few codes on G2A.com, which is where I buy a lot of games for PC and Steam and stuff. They always have stuff super cheap there, and they had PSN codes. So I ended up saving $4 off that. Plus I had $2 in my. So basically I only paid $10 for this game. And it's like I knew I was going to play it eventually. I just didn't think it would be this soon. But the fact that it also had pre-order, preload, and would be playable at midnight. So yeah, I kind of just decided to get it and play it within the last couple of hours. Just made that decision. So let's get into it. I don't know much. I read some stuff a while ago, like about the game. It seemed really interesting, like the way that it plays and stuff, and the story I don't know much about, but the less the better. But I've just heard that it's a really cool game, and I know it's going to be like kind of... This is made by the people who made the Unfinished Swan, which is a game on PS3 originally, but also PS4 and PS Vita. It's a very cool game, pretty unique game as well. Like, it starts out, all you see is white, but you have these black paintballs that you got to throw in order to see your surroundings. Like, so you got to paint in the actual environment and then to make your way around it, which is a very cool concept. And so I'm expecting some cool things here too, and a good story hopefully. But yeah, let's dive into it. Hold on. One thing I gotta change. Alright. Cool. So, what? Okay, trigger.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Hold on, let's see if I can... There we go.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
It's a cool looking mailbox. Well, the graphics definitely look good.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Huh.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Oh, cool.
The truth is, Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me. Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
No shit.
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Huh, so Lewis died, which is that one.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
No Mexican? Damn. Chinese is good though.
Or how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
I kind of like how it's doing these subtitles, or, you know, telling the story through, like, you know, text just being wherever, different places. I like how it's doing it.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Huh. Damn. Okay, so hitting triangle pauses it as well as the usual pause button. Oh, that's a cool table, kind of.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for
Sasquatch.
Barbara,
Look,
along with the rest of the house.
and that's like the fake Sasquatch from that famous video. That's it. Like that's a silhouette of the exact one from that video that was supposed to be a real Sasquatch is just super fake. Like dude in a monkey suit. I forget what I think it's called the Patterson footage. I believe so, of Sasquatch. It's like Sasquatch might be real, but that video's fake as fuck.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Yeah, one thing I did learn about this game is like this family, the Finches, lots of them have died. Or various bad things happened to them. So that's kind of like the premise of the story. But Sasquatch was a real animal at one point. Like, I think 10,000 years ago. They have fossils dating back, but it's called Gigantopithecus. It's basically just a huge ape. And it is definitely possible that they could still be alive.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Whirlwind. I mean, I'm wondering why they left. Because why is that sealed up with caulk?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
What? Why would they seal the door up with caulk?
I'm upset.
Why is that?
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Oh, it's one of those old people chair things. Cool.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Whoa, what?
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Well, yeah, that'd be cool wallpaper to have. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Huh.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Look it up on YouTube. There might be someone taking it apart.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. My Halloween candy was all gone. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
What?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Why? Why even put that there in a game? Who's gonna eat a goldfish raw?
I kept eating and eating.
Oh.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
What?
I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
I had like BB guns and shotguns when I was a kid. They were usually pretty cheap. Like my pellet gun was only $40.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in a big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
What?
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
I know.
I wanted fat, juicy seeds. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Now I'm an octopus, or what the hell? What is going on?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, and I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Belly was rusty, his belly was rusty, his belly was rusty, razor. Drunken sailor, drunken sailor.
See, I was more bothered by having to eat rabbits as an owl than the monster killing people. It's like every video game you kill people, and so it's like, who cares? But rabbits, I don't like killing them. I had pet rabbits. It's not cool to kill rabbits, even in the game. I don't enjoy it. But,
the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe. I got closer and closer.
He's a little too young. This is her own room.
All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
What the hell?
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
That was crazy. I hear a cat.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
What? Wait, so is Molly a kid or a kitten? I'm confused.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
What? Who sails with the house? Who puts a house on a boat and brings it with them? So
But
weird.
40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Oh, so that's what they meant by the house sinking. That's funny, though.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Hans Mole Man.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Wait, what's that about Desmond Miles? Yeah.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the
Yes.
house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Huh. Cool. I'm related to... wait, never mind. My dad once fought Chuck Norris in a Taekwondo tournament.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Not the fat chicks, though. Damn, this is a cool room. What kid has a room like this?
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him.
Oh, I see. So this side of the room was kind of like hunting themed, and this one is space themed. Space is much cooler than the
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
What? Oh, okay.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did.
Oh, that's why.
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that. Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
That's some funny shit. Well, I mean, even though he died, but...
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
You can't lie to me.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Sasquatch.
I never thought about
is
how hard
real.
it must have been for her afterwards.
Never played any old Pokemon games. I've been trying to cheat
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was canceled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
I knew that would be a trophy. I knew it. I knew there would be a trophy for that.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Yeah, like I think it's the Halloween music, right?
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious.
Wah.
All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, isn't that the one with Jason? The guy with the hockey mask? Oh, that's a cool chair.
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Where did he go?
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had
dude
come to
felt-
surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw
That
what
dude
kind
fell
of
off the
monsters
floor.
they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
What the?
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
I don't know, it didn't seem that absurd, like fans going nuts and killing her and her boyfriend. I don't know. I suppose it's possible.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
There was a bunch of floors though, like there was, it's like
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Wait, didn't I already go in there like a couple minutes ago?
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Wait, yeah, now I know how to get the basement key. I should go do that, I think.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Ha ha. I've never stepped on a nail, luckily.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Huh.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
What? He just ate
But if you
canned
wait long
pizza
enough,
straight up.
you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can. I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
So that's why he was down in this basement, because he's like afraid of the world. He has agoraphobia because of his brothers and sisters dying.
Maybe this is all a mistake.
Including Barbara, who died
But I need
while
to
he
stop
was
living the
hiding
same
under his
day.
bed. He was murdered.
Even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I
Yeah.
don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
How did I know that was gonna happen? Oh my god. How did I
Walter
know?
died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Damn.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house...
No, I was laughing at the game. The way some of these people are dying is, I don't know. It's
I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
But especially that, because, like, I was thinking, like, he's like, you know, hiding in there his whole life, but I gotta get out, even if it's my last day, and I just somehow knew that it was gonna be because he was on train tracks and gets run over. In the second he walks out of the tunnel, boom, thing fucking...
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
Alright, cool. I'll be streaming Outlast 2 tomorrow as well. As PlayStation puts it on the store, well, I will have to download it, but as long as it's not too big, it won't take long. But it depends when PlayStation puts the Outlast 2 up.
Though to
Could be early
honest,
afternoon
I feel as
or
lost as you probably do right
later.
now.
But as soon as they put it up, I'm gonna start streaming it.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Wait a sec.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Yeah, it won't be too early. Like maybe 12 hours from now is probably the earliest I would expect them to have Outlast 2 up on the PlayStation Store. But once they do, I'll start.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Early afternoon, probably. What kind of? Wait, they finished building the cemetery before they started building the house? Wow.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
It would for me, too.
3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Ouch.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Oh, there's their old house. Wow.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Sanjay Kumar, what? That doesn't fit in.
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
Huh. Hey, look at that tower. That's pretty cool. I assume we're gonna go up there.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Hey, look, what?
But looking back on it now,
That doesn't make any sense.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Wait, what? This girl's pregnant? What? That's funny. First he gets it wrong. Spells it Y-O-U''RE when it's supposed to be Y-O-U-R. Then when he calls us retards, he says Y-O-U-R. Gets it wrong again.
I never met Grandpa
You're gonna
Sam,
call people...
but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
You're gonna call people retard, at least get basic grammar right. Fat ugly pig. Fucking bitch. And who names themselves Fat Ugly Pig anyways? Fucking loser.
They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I
Dude,
guess
you're
we're
the
all
one
afraid of
watching my
something.
stream. What the fuck? He did, yeah. Motherfucker cannot spell.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Dude, that's the best you got? Are you like 12 or something? I mean, what kind of insult is that? think that's supposed to bother me?
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Smile, Dawn. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't be... Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Good one.
Hang on, kiddo. Just trying to get a shot of the two of us together.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Nice.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Shit. Not sure where I'm supposed to go. Shit, where do I go? Oh, okay. I figured there'd gotta be like a passage way or something like that.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
It's Pepe. Pepe the Frog.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Pepe.
Vacuum's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Silly it sounds. That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish she could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want me to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Damn, so the baby killed himself somehow by putting too much water in the tub. Wow. Yeah, I was only 1 year old. Damn.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. Father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Damn, the waves are picking up.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
What?
wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Wait, so I'm confused what actually happened to him. Like, I know he was messing around with the kite and...
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy,
Oh.
they were going to name me Gus.
I think I get it. Because he was outside instead of being in the tent, he died or something because of the wind, or... Yeah, I don't know. That one was a little confusing. Still cool, like, the flying the kite. Like, I love how each one of these stories has, like, there's a unique way of telling them all. Like one, you climb in the tree and then become a shark and stuff like that, an owl. The other one, like, you're in a comic book, but it's like also like a horror movie. This one, you know, you're flying a kite around and stuff. The other one, you had a camera taking photos and stuff like that. It's definitely like a unique game, and that's what I really like about it so far. It's really well done too. Very cool game.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Wait, so is she still alive? Like...
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Look at all the newspapers scattered.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
I'm wondering, cause like the graphics are awesome so far. I think it's an Unreal Engine 4 game, and you can kind of tell just by the way, like some of the textures and some of the the lighting is pretty damn good and stuff like that. Like all the materials, shaders look good. But also
the house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Oh, so yeah, they just built a big ass tower on top of the house to make it bigger. But yeah, like what I was saying is, I think it has temporal anti-aliasing, which is really the best kind, but I don't know, not all games have it, so it's really cool to see games that do. I mean, it is kind of hard to tell if it does or not, but it just really seems like it does to me, just because it's not usually the way to tell. Like, I'm seeing no shimmering anywhere, but I mean, it's easier to tell when like there are objects that are far away and shiny, like, because anything that reflects light and is like far away will usually have shimmering on it. But I'm seeing nothing. I mean, there's not really objects like that I'm seeing here. However, just by looking at the edges of stuff close to me, it really seems like it's temporal anti-aliasing, which is I love to see in games, because it just makes everything look literally perfectly clean almost. You see no jagged edges, no shimmering. It like this is a really well polished, good looking game. Although I guess some stuff ain't great looking, like that little shelf thing that doesn't look very detailed, and the texture of that door sill, it's a little blurry. But otherwise, I mean, this game looks awesome. If I didn't like just stop to look at that, I wouldn't have noticed probably, but for the most part, the game looks great.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Yeah, like normally, something like this little pet cage, where there's a lot of lines and they get very thin, that is where normally you would see aliasing, shimmering, but you're really not seeing it. Because, like I said, I think this game has temporal anti-aliasing, which is the best there is.
But it didn't last.
Alright, I need to pay more attention to the fucking story.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
What the hell? Oh, yo, that's the, that crown and the two mustache things. That's from the Unfinished Swan, which is the game that they made before this. There was a king in it, and that was his, like, little symbol thing. Yo, and there's fucking black balloons. And that town, too, that's also from the Unfinished Swan. I don't know if this is like an Unfinished Swan Easter egg or... Oh, yo, and that picture over there on the wall above the bed. That looks straight out of the Unfinished Swan as well. Oh, yo, and then the fucking yellow footprints. Yo, this is the Unfinished Swan right here. Like, what the hell? That's cool. I hope... Is that like... I wonder if it's just an Easter egg or if it's like actually related. That'd be sick. But actually, yeah, all these vines, that's another thing that's from the Unfinished Swan, and like just the color castle, well, and the castle itself, like the architecture. All the stuff seems ripped right out of the Unfinished Swan. Super cool. Yo, and this is the music from it. So cool. Yo, yeah, this is like this little town. That's a level from the Unfinished Swan. That's one of the levels. Because I remember the staircase and like that's what one of the levels was like. Yeah.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
That picture is from the Unfinished Swan as well. remember if the king from the Unfinished Swan had a name, but that would be pretty cool if it, if it was Milton. What if this is like the same guy? I don't even know.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Wait, yeah, because Milton is the one that's missing. They never
I
found
was
him.
4 when Milton disappeared.
So, wow, that's really interesting. What the fuck? So basically he went into the world of the Unfinished Swan. That's so cool of them to tie to this game like that.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
I'm glad I didn't know that these two games were related. Like, I assumed they weren't. So, like, yeah, hopefully that... You know,
Whatever
it's a good
Milton
thing
had
they
found in
didn't
the
say
house,
anything about
Mom didn't want it getting out.
That's cool that they didn't mention that this game is at all tied to the you know, in the same universe, or at all tied to the Unfinished Swan, because it's really cool prize right there. And hopefully everyone else who plays it gets that same shock. I mean, unless they haven't played the Unfinished.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
You'd miss out on that bit if you hadn't played the Unfinished Swan, so hopefully people have before they play this.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
What?
Lewis's room
Nice
smelled
hookah.
very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Opener video games. Wait, that looks like a Super Nintendo, not a PlayStation. How dare they? How dare they? Well, I guess it depends on this guy. There's a spoon, bowl piece, some nice blacklight posters. I like that one on the left the best. Looks cool. What's he got that big ball for, though? The Red King. Like Rory McDonald.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
What?
Newly sober, I
You just
believe
smoked
Lewis
weed.
first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
What the hell?
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Well, this is
I
pretty
worried
fucking
about
cool.
him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical,
Yeah.
tireless, focused.
I'm sure he is gonna. That's the first thing I was thinking of too. He's gonna end up cutting himself.
Like a whole
and
new
dying
Lewis.
somehow.
So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Toby. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Yeah, that's just like Mario.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. in Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
What the hell? Oh, I get, because they're in a cannery.
Began to forget the world we know.
Yo, that looks like a Nintendo Switch kind of, huh? Well, I guess not, because, I guess it's more like a Wii U, gamepad thing. The hell?
I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Wait, so they just throw the... What, those whole salmon? I'm confused.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. wise calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Uh-oh.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son, was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Jeez.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
So how many are there left? Well, I guess Edie, Sven. I don't know if the Leafs count. If there's Kay, Sanjay, and Sven, but I don't know if they count. Maybe it's just Edie left.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Alright, that's cool. I'd suggest playing this game. This game is really cool. Although I'm
On the
betting
way
I
back
am
from
pretty
Lewis's
close to the
funeral,
end.
my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Thank you. Yeah, I will. The video will be up on my channel, so feel free to watch it. Thanks for stopping by.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe I should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Oh yeah, that's right. She did mention that something happened on the last night that they were there. Oh yeah, and this looks like that kingdom that Lewis was... What kind of pants are those? What the hell?
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Damn, so she drank on purpose, basically, to kill herself so she wouldn't have to leave the house. You can already tell that's what's gonna happen. Damn, it's messed up.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful.
Somehow I knew we would be coming out here.
No,
one way
I've
or
seen
another.
that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
And I'm controlling all this, by the way, like the hand and of the car
My
window.
mom
I was
didn't like to talk
controlling
about
that.
it. But she started getting sick a lot.
Because that's one cool thing I wanted to note about this game is like it's all interactive. Like I'm always in control, like through this. So that's one really cool thing. Like this is interactive storytelling in really creative ways, and like there's always something that the player's doing. So it's like not like other games where you're like kind of sitting and watching. Like there's one cool thing I just wanted to mention about this, because as you're watching, obviously you're not knowing what I'm controlling and what I'm not, so I just figured I should mention that I have been controlling most of what you've seen in this game. Like, so it's not just like we're watching cutscenes here. I'm actually doing this stuff, which is definitely something in this game's favor, something good about this game.
The rest happened pretty quickly.
What?
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
Yeah, 'cause she's pregnant.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Okay, now I'm back in control.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
What? So she only survived? What the man? Talk about a cursed family. Huh. But wow, that was a fucking really cool game. Really good. Such an interesting way to tell a story. Like, and like the coolest part is like there's a lot of variety. Like each part was different. Like each part had a different feel to it. Like also some parts were like they were so ridiculous that they were funny. Other parts were actually like, you know, kind of sad, like, or just messed up. But like, yeah, no, this is a really well done game. I think it's much better than The Unfinished Swan, which I really liked as well. And also had some of that where it was like there was humor, but there was also some parts that were a little bit dark to it or serious. And this one was no different. It is a bit short, I'd say, though. Like, let me I guess I could check the stream and see how long I've been playing. Wait, actually, no, I can just check that on wait. I think there's a way to check how long I played for. I know if I put the comments on. I thought there was an easier way to do it as well. Okay, so 2 hours, 14 minutes. So it's a little short, but it was a great game. Like, it really was. Really cool game, to say the least. So 2 hours, 14. I'll have to go to how long to beat and put my time in. But, like, I don't at all regret. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, I know some people are like, you know, oh, 2-hour game, like this and that. Oh, it should only be $10. But this game was so good that I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that I bought it. Like, it was $16 with the pre-order discount. It's 100% worth that. Also, the quality is fantastic. Like, it's, you know, like I was mentioned earlier, the graphics are really good, but also just super polished. Like, no aliasing, no shimmering. It just looks good. Like, it just looks very polished and clean, which is what I love to see. And in a story like based game that's all about the experience, that's important. So I feel like they nailed the technical aspects. Also, the frame rate. I never noticed a single like dip as far as frame rate. No issues like that whatsoever. I mean, there wasn't anything crazy complicated going on. Although there was some fun stuff. Oh, Genova, he's the dude who made Journey, which is another one of like my favorite games. As far as like this type of like game, it was more like an experience than it is an actual game. It's like just this really cool linear story. So wow, it took them 5 years to make this. But there's only like, you can see there's only like not even 10 people there. So that's why it took them some time to make this game, because there are only a few people that do it. Replay a story. Oh, so I can just pick one and replay it? That's pretty cool. I would most likely end up just playing the whole thing over and over again. Most likely, rather than just one bit. But yeah, awesome game. Like, awesome. Like, I don't want to call it a walking simulator. It's similar to that, because I mean, you're walking around the house and being, but like, because there's so much other like gameplay elements to it, for the way of each story is told. Like, there's some flying, there's some swimming, there's some all kinds of stuff. There's even some like top-down perspective, like just walking around. I mean, yeah, you're just walking around, but like even still, like they changed the perspective quite a bit, and there's a lot of variety to it. So to me, this is like one of the best, if not the best, walking simulator type game that there is. Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know what you consider a walking simulator. Like, Journey, I wouldn't consider a walking simulator, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, I also wouldn't, because I mean, there's just so much gameplay in those that are not anything like this. Well, like first person, walking around, being told a story. I mean, I think of like Firewatch, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Dear Esther. Oh yeah, of course, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And I think this is better than all the ones I just mentioned. And Gone Home, but that game fucking blows dick. Gone Home is literally the worst game I've ever played. I recommend you don't play it, even if you get it for free. Well, it was free on PlayStation Plus. I had got it before on Steam for like $5, and I felt so ripped off. Like that game, I swear to God, it's the way it plays out is. I swear the developers are trying to troll the people who are playing it, like really trying to fuck with the player, just to piss us off. Not in a good way. Like we made you go through all of this for fucking nothing type of thing. So I think I mentioned all the walking simulators I've played now that I've mentioned Gone Home. This is the best out of the ones I've played for sure. I feel like I'm forgetting one, possibly. But like Valley, I played Valley. I wouldn't consider that a walking simulator because there's just so much other involved. But I think this is a better game than that. And it was a great game. Don't get me wrong, but this game was awesome. I mean, it's almost a shame that it was only 2 hours, because I know some people are going to complain about that, but I feel like it was such a good 2 hours that, I mean, I'd rather have 2 hours of this than 6 hours of something else, or 6 hours of a lot of the other games I played. Like Firewatch, I'm pretty sure that was like 6 hours. I'd rather have this than that. I mean, it's just a much better game. Firewatch gets like a lot of credit. I know it's sold a lot and people really like Firewatch and stuff, but I've kind of feel like it's a little overrated, but it was really cool at the same time. But this game's better. I'm sorry. It was a really cool game. I'm glad I played it. Also, it feels good to, I mean, that's another reason I'm fine with it being 2 hours. It feels good to get through a game that quickly. I'm just so used to playing games for over days or weeks or months. Like, I don't have enough time to play as much as I'd like to, that it takes me a while to finish games most of the time, unless I really sit down and just stick to it, which I have trouble doing, which is why I stream in the first place. The reason I live stream is because it helps me concentrate on the game, and it feels good to get through a game in one sitting. So now that I can move on to the next stuff, I was actually concerned about that because Outlast 2 is coming out tomorrow. So that's why I was almost a little hesitant to buy this game. I was actually going to wait originally, but until I found out that the pre-order price, the discount, was only till tomorrow morning. Also, I got another discount by buying PlayStation Store money or cards through G2A. I saved another few dollars. So basically, I only paid $10 for this game. Until tomorrow morning, it's $16. Even at that price, I highly, highly recommend it. Or even at the regular price, $20. If this is the type of thing you like, I highly recommend it. But what was I saying before? I ramble a lot when it comes to games. It's so easy to do, especially after I just finished one that was actually quite good. And I was just saying how I was a little hesitant to buy this, but I did because of the reasons I just mentioned. Just because Outlast 2 coming out tomorrow, I still haven't finished The Evil Within. I have a bunch of other games on my backlog that I need to play. So now I'm relieved that I was able to finish this game before I'm even going to be able to start playing Outlast, because I kind of don't like having to jump back and forth between games, or just taking too long to play them, just because sometimes you forget story details that you learned at the beginning because they're days or weeks between the beginning of you playing it and you actually finishing it, at least for me, just because I take too long to play games because I just don't have enough time to sit there all day and play it and grind through a game like most people do. So it's like awesome to have been able to get through a game in one sitting. It was a great experience. Really liked the game, and yeah, it was really cool. I'd say they improved quite a bit on the Unfinished Swan, which was, I think, about the same length or shorter. But like, yeah, both very cool games, but I think this one's better. Better story. The gameplay was like much more interesting. I thought, although the gameplay in Unfinished Swan is really cool and maybe more involved and more conventional as far as gameplay goes. Like there are puzzles and some kind of platforming, I guess you could say. Also some really cool elements like shooting the paintballs and the water and stuff all over to get through the levels and stuff. So that was definitely unique, but also really fun and involved, more conventional, I say. But this game is also super unique with its gameplay and super fun to play through. Awesome way to tell a story. Like this is a very creative team that made this game. Like the developers, very creative, because Unfinished Swan was also very creative and unique. This is even more so, I'd say. Like, this is just a really cool game. Happy I played it. But tomorrow, Outlast 2, as soon as I'm able to play that, I will stream it. It just depends when PlayStation decides to put that game on the store. Could be early afternoon, could be late afternoon, we'll see. Could be night. Also, I will have to actually download it before I play it. There's no preload or pre-order, or I'd probably be playing it now. But yeah, so sometime tomorrow we'll be playing Outlast 2, and yeah, we'll go from there. But thanks for the people that were watching, and yeah, I hope people actually go out and play the game too, instead of just watching me. 'Cause all games are better if you play them. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything new here, but I feel like too many people will watch stuff on YouTube instead of playing it, and I kind of contribute to that by streaming, although on a very minute scale, because barely anybody watches my streams. But I do it for myself mainly, but also it is cool to chat with people a little bit. But I feel like people should play games instead of watch it. And like me personally, I don't watch other people streaming games because I just find playing them so much more interesting. But all right, I'm done rambling. Peace out.